Hello everyone. So the last video we have seen how to move our code or business logic from controller class to service class, and we have even moved it. So basically, like all the logics or code implementation or business logic, everything was supposed to be in our service layer or in service class, not in the controller layer, right? So controller layer simply has to have a service object and call the respective method from the service class service object and return them or use them. That's all the controller is supposed to do. Rest is related to this post or get or delete mapping, delete or put mapping, and also related to the functionality and the routing. That's all controller is supposed to do. So for avoiding some issues, I'm going to a little bit modify my staff service code a little bit, especially like these for loops. I'm going to modify because I found this enhanced for loop has some issues when we are testing the scenarios like concurrency issues. So I don't want to get into that in detail since we are studying and the basic things now. So for that reason, to avoid any blockers or issues, I'm going to change this enhanced for loop to a traditional for loop, right? So here what I will do is we are seeing the for loop in two places, right? Delete staff and update staff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write another for loop here and remove this existing for loop, right? So for the moment I will keep this for loop for reference and I will write the traditional for loop, right? So I'm going to loop the staff classes, staff array. So I will write for int I is less than, my bad. Okay, then within that I'm going to verify the staff ID, right? So I will take the particular element on that I index and I simply go for its staff ID. So I'm writing the if condition. I'm referring the second for loop, this for loop, and writing the first for loop now, right? Just in other words, I'm referring this and converting it into this traditional for loop, right? So then I'm going to remove that staffs dot remove, and I'm going to remove the particular object, right? So staffs dot get I object. So if you know some knowledge, if you have some knowledge in the for loops, you know what I'm doing. Okay, so this is none other than the same version of this enhanced for loop. So now I'm removing the for loop and keeping only the traditional this I based for loop. So I'm going to do the same thing in this other for loop as well. So what I will do is I will again type it. So the same logic. Also I'm setting the age. Okay, so I simply converted this for loop to the enhanced for loop, and only keeping this enhanced for loop for further development. Okay, I'm not doing it. Okay, so it's a simple conversion, nothing but just a conversion. So what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to save the application, build and run for testing for these success scenarios. That in other words, since I have moved my code from controller to service class and also like modified these for loops, I just want to ensure or I just want to make sure the code was working as it worked while the logic was inside the staff controller, right? We just simply did the code cleanup, not cleanup, code refactoring, or organize the code in proper ways by moving it to service class. So nothing should be affected in the functionality point of view. So I just want to verify the functionality, that's all. Okay, so I simply run the application now. The build is success. So the application is up and running. So I'm going to test it now. Okay, so first I will do a get call by hitting the get endpoint of the controller class. So I will keep the controller class open. Okay, I'm going to test it first. So you're sending a request and status is okay, and it is an empty array, right? Because initially we don't have any data added inside, right? So it's an empty array we start with. Okay, then I'm going to add the data. So I will use my post endpoint. Okay, insert endpoint. So I'm going to add this data, maybe 1111, and the name is, let's say, Harry. Okay, I'm going to add the data. So 111. So I'm going to add one more data, 2222, and maybe Jack, and age is 22. Added it. This is also okay, and 3333, maybe Rose. Okay, so I have inserted 3 data with success scenarios. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the get call again and see whether it has been successful. Okay, see, all the 3 data has been added successfully, right? With the ID 1111, 2222, and 333, and Harry, Jack, and Rose. So that means my get endpoint is working as expected, and also my post, that means adding endpoint, is also working as expected. Okay, so that means this post and get are fine, right? So I'm going to check with this delete and update endpoint, right? So that means I'm going to do delete one data now. So let's try to delete the rows using 333 ID, right? So I'm copying the ID, so I'm going for my delete endpoint. So this is my delete endpoint. So I'm trying to delete the employee with the ID 333. So that means I'm trying to delete the rows data, right? I'm sending it. So status is okay. So again I'm going to get endpoint. So this data should have been deleted now, right? So I will go for the call. So this is the data from the previous call. So I will go again and hit it. So you see it has been removed, right? So we have only Harry and Jack, 1111 and 2222. The ID with 333 has been deleted. So now I'm going to test my put endpoint, that means update endpoint. So what I will do is I will try to update the Jack's name as and age with new names using the ID 2222. So what I will do is I will go to my endpoint, I'll keep update and make the ID as 2222, because using this ID from the staff ID only we are going to update it, right? And let's keep the name as Droney and 35. So if you go for the once you are done, this Jack should be Droney and the age should be 35. You get it? Because that is my new data for this same 2222 ID, right? So I'm going for the call now. So this is status 200, okay, right? So I will again, so since this call has been done, update, I'm going to again go for the get call and check it. So you can see the ID with the 2222 has been named, has been changed to Droney and age 35. Jack has become Droney with the new age 35, right? So that means all my endpoints are working as expected. Okay, put, post, delete, and get. So that means we are good, even though we have refactored our code. Nothing is affected in the functionality point of view, guys.